time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers this morning. I have with me in the studio lawyer Jide Ologun and journalist Dare Odufowoka. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for talking to us this morning. All right, so we have some stories this morning. Of course, we'll look at, first of all, the Daily Times newspapers. It says, yeah, effective audit will ensure transparency in governance, as according to the President Buhari. Charges officials to see audit exercise as encouragement, not threat. Absence of audit act hindering our job, says Auditor General. The news director is saying Senate to invite police IG over rising insecurity, seeks introduction of community policing. Daily Times says Buhari, I'm surprised by rising insecurity. We're shocked by your admittance, says experts. The blueprint is saying 1 week after federal government southwest truce on Amotekun, Senate backs community policing, summons IGP others. It confirms our stance as governors. Our security architecture overstretched, as according to Autumn, will be harder on bandits, says Buhari. Death toll hit 6 in Taraba, herders farmers clash. This day says Buhari expresses shock at level of violent crimes in the country, promises tougher measures against bandits. Senate backs community policing to interface with IG. Insecurity alarming, says House. The Nation newspaper says here, insecurity, Buhari stunned as lawmakers seek action. And the writer says President to go harder on criminals. Senate embrace community policing. Gentlemen, let's talk about this story here. Insecurity, Buhari stunned as lawmakers seek action. Looking at this now, the lawmakers are seeking action into this issue, and they have summoned the IG. What are your expectations going forward? Let's start with you.
Like we said earlier, it is a good thing Mr. President is as concerned as we've always wanted him to be. It's not as if he has not shown concern, but he has shown concern to the extent to which he was informed or he was aware. Now he's more aware, according to him. That's what he's telling us. I'm shocked. I didn't know it was this bad. Fine. Now, the National Assembly too are taking they resumed yesterday. Yeah. And immediately it was on the front burner, insecurity. The IG is to be summoned, and he wants to believe that parley between the lawmakers and the IG. Issues should be localized. The lawmakers are representatives of the people. We should stop having this vague idea of the nation is insecure. Let's go to the localities. Look at what happened in Plateau. There were killings on Monday, and by the next day, repeats are killings. Yeah. If this is not stopped, it will continue back and forth. And then somebody says it's tit for tat. We're playing tit for tat with human lives. We can't continue that. So the IG should be able to explain, not, he shouldn't tell them this time that he's overwhelmed. We will not be happy hearing that. But he should be able, if he has to go to that parley with his 36 state police commissioners, he should do. And each commissioner should be able to explain the state of security in his or her own state. And going further, each area, each division of the police should be able to explain, in our locality, these are the challenges we are having. If we are truthful to ourselves, security operatives know who the marauders are. Okay. They know who the attackers are. All they need to do is get that will, that political will, that desire, that readiness to go after these people. Once that is sorted out, first, the National Assembly members and the IG's parley should identify who the attackers are. Going beyond giving names, a group of names to they are herdsmen, they are bandits,
generalizing.
Bandits, herdsmen. These are two general words for us to get at anything. These attackers are coming from so places and attacking these areas, and these are their intentions, or these are grouses. Okay. Where there are grouses, The police by now should be able to say, these people will keep attacking these people because of this reason. Or these are criminals who just want to perpetrate crime, and we must go after them.
All right, Barrister, let's have you say on this matter now.
You know, I want to view it from the global perspective. There is what you call the concept of vision and mission. I believe this government has the vision of mobilizing 100 million Nigerians from poverty to prosperity. And the mission towards achieving that is by creating a safe environment where you can empower businesses and attract foreign direct investment. So, and what this government should do is look out through the window. I did a study, prosperity and security. They are twin brothers. You talk about Iceland, you talk about Portugal, you talk about even Singapore. That was our classmate in poverty. It's one of the safest places to live and work in the world and one of the prosperous. So if we have a vision of coming out from that brand of being the capital of poverty in the world, we must streamline it with actions. And again, on returns on investment. Are we saying there is no budget for security in this country? Are we saying there is no ministry for all this? Why should the commander-in-chief come out to say that he is now shocked?
Now, that brings the question what information he has been getting over time.
I'm not an apologist of leadership. In Nigeria, the politicians come begging us to vote for them. If you don't know what you are going to do in office, don't come asking for the office. Don't let us make excuse for leadership. And for those who have done critical analysis of this, it's either you are comfortable with the level of crime or you are helpless. And my confidence in this government came out of the fact that my president, whom I admire so much, was a military head of state, a general that should be able to tackle insecurity.
He was a general. He served in the military. But he would, you see, this statement, I am shocked by Buhari, should not be seen by us as an indictment on his person. He has indicted those working with him. Buhari would not know what is happening in every nooks and cranny of the country. So if you are a special advisor on security, there is a national security advisor. There are those who are in charge of public affairs and all that.
So they've
not been doing their job.
So do you suggest an overhaul of the security architecture?
We have been calling for that. And we are still calling for that. And beyond that now, there should be an overhaul of the intelligence architecture. We've been complaining about the role of intelligence in handling this thing. Mr. President just confirmed that those who ought to give him intelligence
we do not lack intelligence in Nigeria. We do not lack the intelligence reports. We lack the will to deal with this insecurity.
But Mr. President
that is my position. And when they are tired of this ugly situation, I know something will be done. We can make reference to how these apparatus have performed effectively. So why is it difficult to cope this crisis that we have? Because some are probably not interested in stopping it. And it will push the nation deeper into poverty. So if this regime wants to be recorded on the golden side of history, you are empowered to solve this problem. We have prayed, we have done everything. I think this is now
we have to go at this point now.
But if Mr. President is not interested in solving the problem, he won't come out to say he's shocked. So those who should provide necessary information should have their games. And that's what he has just told us. He was lacking in that aspect. And now he has exposed it.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for talking to us on this, of course, for lending your voice.
Time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio lawyer Jide Ologun and journalist Dare Odufowoko. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. All right, we head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Daily Times. Effective audit will ensure transparency in governance. Buhari charges officials to see audit exercise as encouragement, not threat. And the absence of Audit Act hindering our jobs, says Auditor General. And then we move to the News Direct. Senate to invite police IG over rising insecurity, seeks introduction of community policing. And on the front page of the Daily Trust now, Buhari, I am surprised by rising insecurity. We are shocked by your admittance, experts. On the front page of the blueprint, 1 week after federal government Southwest choose on Amotekun, Senate backs community policing, summons IGP others. It confirms as stand governors. A security architecture overstretched, autumn will be harder on bandits. Buhari, death toll hits 6 in Taraba. Herders, farmers clash. And finally, on the front page of this day newspaper, Buhari expresses shock at level of violent crimes in the country, promises tougher measures against bandits. Senate backs community policing to interface with IG. Insecurity alarming, says House. And we'll stick with this story on the front page of this day newspaper. Although it is a story that is on on the front page of most of the papers this morning, talking about the president expressing shock at the level of violent crimes in the country. And some experts say they are shocked that he is expressing shock. So perhaps I'd like to get your reaction on the president's expression of shock to the level of insecurity in the country, because these are things that everybody have been talking about over time. And one wonders how the president is shocked by the rising cases of insecurity. I'll start with you, Dari.
Well, I'm shocked that he's shocked.
You've joined the experts as well.
No, really. I think any Nigerian will be shocked that Mr. President is shocked that there is insecurity in the country. Be that as it may. Now,
what does that say? Does it mean that he hasn't been getting details of what is going on in the country?
I don't want to believe so. I just think it's a way of also telling us that, look, these things are getting out of hand.
Really?
Yes,
by expressing shock?
I want to take it that way because I'm shocked that I can be shocked. Or that he is shocked. I mean, you see, one needs to understand certain things very well in this country. But I want to take Mr. President's word as admittance that enough has not been done to curb insecurity. Yes, after being shocked by his being shocked, I am happy that finally
he's
admitting the fact that these things are getting out of hand, if they are not out of hand already. And if it comes to that, I want to believe we are at that point when something will give.
Concrete.
Something must just give now.
And what would that be?
We must begin to see change in our approach to fighting insecurity. The issues of the military chiefs are still there, the defense chiefs. Well, whatever it is now, if Mr. President is now shocked that they've not done enough,
perhaps we might be seeing an overhaul.
Maybe he should begin to think of an overhaul, if he's not giving it consideration yet. The fact that it is also, surprised that maybe, you see, I read that he made the statement while receiving some eminent Nigerians.
Yes.
Maybe they were able to tell him more than his handlers have been telling him. Maybe they're able to show him proofs of this insecurity in their various back doors. Maybe they're able to convince him that, oh, Mr. President, things should not be this bad. And listening to them, you know, sometimes the father sits in the house and he gets reports from his security men, drivers, about happenings. But some days, his children, his own real children, will visit and say, Dad, this is how bad it is. Maybe this is what has happened to Mr. President. Maybe somehow some people have been able to drive home this reality. The same thing he has been hearing over the years, but his advisors and handlers will tell him, but it's not as if he's that bad. But now some people told him to his face that our wives are being raped, our children are being killed, our farms are being razed down. Nigerians can no longer go out freely. And then he saw it taken home to him.
Let's get Barrister Ologun's perspective to this issue. The president said he is shocked by the rising insecurity, and even the Senate president had to, call a meeting when they resumed sitting plenary yesterday, and they talked about insecurity as well. They are going to summon the IGP, and they talked about backing state community policing at this point. Did we have to get to this level before we began to look at this, taking these measures? Because questions that are rising on the minds of Nigerians is, for how long are we going to fight insecurity?
Firstly, I'm glad he's shocked.
You're glad he's shocked?
Exactly, because I was shocked when the global community accused us as having lost our sense of shock by the number of persons killed in the country. And the reference I made to 1,460 human beings killed in this country within 7 months last year, that should be shocking. So now that the president is shocked, I think he's overwhelmed. Because I said it, when you have a situation like this, it's either you are comfortable with that situation, because Mike Murdoch said you don't condone what is evil. And if we have come to this level, we should be warned that it can be worse if we don't take the right steps. And I was thinking about this. I want to advise the government that, please, the same way you secure yourselves in office, if you do 75% of that to secure the citizens, I think we come out of this. I mean, January 2018, dozens of souls were wasted in Benue State. Now the governor of Plateau State has ordered that the Fulani leaders should be apprehended. I read recently when the government is even claiming that the Boko Haram, these people have sophisticated weapons. All right. In fact, my president even said, and that, should I say I'm shocked by that, that before he came to office, there were no bandits. And now there are bandits. Before he came to office, there were no bandits. And now there are bandits. Before he came to office, we were talking about local Boko Haram. Now we are talking about Islamic States of West Africa. You see, so I hope that this shock
will lead to the right results,
to taking positive steps. And we can look out of the window and see how other leaders respond to insecurity. Every effort at achieving prosperity in an insecure society, we fail. Now we are talking about herders and farmers. And the president is advising that people should go into agriculture. So how do you go into the agriculture
when they don't feel secure?
How do you frustrate the same steps you are taking to develop the country? All right. I just want to advise that if you go back to the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 14, subsection 2, as amended, it says that the security, and it starts with security, and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. And if the governance system has failed at the primary level, I think the leadership should be concerned. So I hope that going forward, whether it is community policing, whatever policing, there is an obligation for security to be put in place if we are going anywhere. And beyond the local level, if you look at the United Nations Charter, that came up in 1945, security and welfare of the people is a principal concern there. So why should, the president has even admitted that people are afraid to travel. Even in Katsina State, that is the state of my president, it's worse there. I was reading a report when my president went home and the indigenes were telling him that it's only when he comes home they experience power, electricity in that community. It should not be said about Nigeria. We should go beyond this. And it's good the National Assembly is showing interest in the level of insecurity.
Absolutely.
And I believe that it is a problem we can solve if the will is there. And I want to...
From the look of things, now that everybody seems to be interested in the issues of security, perhaps this is
the
will showing that
interest. It's all about action.
You see, now is the time. We should do, beyond the fact that we are shocked or we are surprised, Mr. President is shocked. It's a good thing. It takes a very strong man and a very
to admit.
Trustworthy person to admit when something is wrong. And I appreciate his admittance. Sincerely, this is no comic. It is something, if he says, look, I didn't know it was this bad, and then from this point, we begin to see proactive steps towards solving the problem, then we'll give it to him. Yes, you came to realization, but now that he has joined us in knowing that things are pretty bad, then he must join every Nigerians who are worried that things shouldn't continue this way. And when that happens, I see change coming.
All right.
And when change comes in situations like this, we are going to be seeing positive things. And
Absolutely.
that's exactly what we expect from him now.
Mr. Gary, are you taking us back? We've left change. We're in the next
No,
level.
now we are going to change.
Now we are
Because
just
now we
going
are
to
going
change.
to change.
From next level back to change.
All right.
Now let's begin to see
Let's
change.
see the change. That's what he's trying to say, I believe. But thank you, gentlemen, for your contribution to the newspaper review this morning. Well, it's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio lawyer Jide Ologun and journalist Dari Odufowokon. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. All right, we head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Daily Times. Effective audit will ensure transparency in governance. Buhari charges officials to see audit exercise as encouragement, not threat. And the absence of Audit Act hindering our jobs, says Auditor General. To the front page of the News Direct, Senate to invite police IG over rising insecurity, seeks introduction of community policing. To the Daily Trust now, Buhari, I am surprised by rising insecurity. We are shocked by your admittance, experts. To the front page of the Blueprint, 1 week after a federal government Southwest truce on Amotekun, Senate backs community policing, summons IGP, others. It confirms our stand, governors. A security architecture overstretched. Autumn will be harder on bandits. Buhari, death toll hits 6 in Taraba herders-farmers clash. We'll be looking at the story shortly. And to the front page of this day newspaper, Buhari expresses shock at level of violent crimes in the country, promises tougher measures against bandits. Senate backs community policing to interface with IG. Insecurity alarming. And finally, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, insecurity, Buhari stunned as lawmakers seek action. President to go harder on criminals. Senators embrace community policing. All right, so gentlemen, we'll be looking at the story on the front page of the Blueprint. We have been following the story on Amotekun, the controversies it generated, and finally the truce. And 1 week after that truce on Amotekun, where it was agreed that this outfit should take the format of community policing. And we are now seeing that the Senate is beginning to back community policing, despite the fact that it is summoning the IGP and others. And the governors are saying this confirms our stand. And there has been calls over time. Let's get your reaction, Dari, to this.
Well, you see, beyond just community policing or Amotekun, you will recall that in times past we've been talking about the need for restructuring.
Yes.
The truth is, we have gotten to a point when we cannot just continue to run away from restructuring in this country. Mr. President, I am sure before the music changed, the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, said, okay, we can have Amotekun. Mr. President must have intervened. Look, there's nothing wrong with what these governors are trying to do. It is not against the Constitution. The AGF eventually told us that he didn't say it's against the Constitution. He didn't say it's illegal, but he's just feeling, look, tidy up certain loose ends.
Absolutely.
We agree. The governors are now saying, okay, we will do that. Now we have Amotekun, it has come to stay. And the Senate resumed, and one of the first things they did was to throw their weight behind community policing, inviting the IG so that they can sit down together. You give us idea of how we can do community policing. We will provide the legal backing to it. And that shows you that the clamor of years past are gradually coming home to be understood by all stakeholders. We should not begin to see restructuring or its contents as attempts by a group of people to destabilize the country. We should not begin to fear that if we allow each group, each region, each zone of this country to grow at its own rate, that will divide us as a people. We must have confidence that the things uniting us are more than the things dividing us. And when we begin to play up those things, uniting us. So that when we play them up, the few things dividing us will soon fizzle out. One of those things that will unite us is community policing. How?
Really?
Yes. When I am sure that with our own idea of policing our own communities, we have clear understanding of how to tackle criminalities. If the Southwest, for example, is able today to use Amotekun effectively to tackle criminalities in the Southwest, it won't cost Southeast anything to say, come, borrow us that your format. Let us apply it.
But we see the various coloration that it took when the outfit came up, when the governors launched the outfit. Have we really dealt with the issues that seem to be these fault lines, as people have called it? Because that seemed to be undermining efforts when it comes to tackling issues of insecurity.
Insecurity springs up from mismanagement of conflict. And Mr. Dare brilliantly mentioned the issue of unity. I think we need to redefine the unity of Nigeria. Things are not done with national interest. From the platform of this Amotekun, you heard the leader of a business group saying that this Amotekun is targeted at the Fulani who do businesses in the bush. If they are nomadic, should that business be a threat to other people's prosperity? Should it involve killings? So I don't go about protecting my regional interest. And that is where the issue is now. Can the government provide security for everyone? Create an enabling environment. My business does not become a threat to your business. You don't need to be in office to protect the interest of your region. And that is where we should be moving in Nigeria. If we have practiced this democracy in the true sense of it, there won't be a call for restructuring. If you look at Section 14 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it says that our relationship shall be based on the principles of justice, fairness, and democracy. Can we claim there is fairness? If not, we'll be coming up with several security architecture. But those who should enforce it and ensure success do not have the national interest to ensure the success.
That's it.
So you get the efforts frustrated. If not, why did Senator Ndume come out to say that the president cannot change the army chiefs now because we are in a war? Why should we be in a war? Why? Who is killing who? We read about these things. And to make it worse, we are now importing, so to say, elements from foreign countries that are not in the high profile of human capital. You see, and that is why Lagos now has to start expending money on dealing with issues we could have prevented. So I am advocating for national interest. If you are from any part of this country, let your loyalty first be to the country. Because if we are sincere with ourselves, why should herders be clashing with farmers? Are they not in the same industry? Who are the customers who are going to eat the cows at the end of the day? So why should we seek to stampede one business for the sake of the other? Why should we, embrace aggressive attacks and seek to prevent reprisal attacks? We need to be serious about all this. And we need an intelligence-driven governance system. Is it so difficult to sort out this nation? And I am saying that if we don't change this tradition of terrorism and crime, we will remain in the same classroom with the likes of Yemen and Afghanistan. Go and check the countries of the world that have embraced crime at this level. They hardly prosper. So I'm still confident in the capacity of this government to curb the state
deal
of
with this head on,
if sincerity comes in. And that is my position.
All right, your final word.
My final word on this is that we should appreciate the way things are turning out. The National Assembly, the presidency, the governors appears to be on the same page on this issue now. We should make the best use of this opportunity. However, those beating the drums of discord should stop. I heard somebody saying Amotekun is anti-Islam because the name leopard was mentioned in the Bible. So a new name should be. These are things we should not even that
shouldn't come up in the first place.
At all.
Because it's about people's lives.
People assume to be learned professors. PhD holders.
All right.
Playing with the lives of the people. If we are going to form this to solve a problem as serious as killings, whatever name is given to it shouldn't be
a problem.
And then
All
Nigerians should help our leaders find solutions to problems,
All
not
right.
add more.
Dare Oduforwakon, thank you for your time. Barrister Jide Ologun, thank you for coming as well.
God bless Nigeria.